Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday, February 25th public comment period. At this time, we usually invite public that have items that are not on the agenda. They're welcome to come forward, sign in, and state their name and address, and let us know. They have up to 3 minutes to present anything. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment today? Give it another minute. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, well, we will be here until 10 a.m. And then at that time, we'll be able to welcome our mayor from Virginia here to speak as well, and as a welcome. So we'll be around until 10 if anybody decides to speak. Thank you. Please rise. At the beginning of each of our board meetings, we take a moment to remember those that are victims of war and violence here and abroad. So we take a moment of silence in their honor, and then we say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody, and we're so glad to be here in Virginia, Minnesota, here for our February 25th board meeting. I will have Clerk Chapman call roll, and then we will have a few speakers. So, Clerk
Commissioner
Chapman.
Boyle. Here. Commissioner Grimm.
Here.
Commissioner McDonald. Here. Commissioner Musaf. Commissioner Nelson. Here. Commissioner Yugovich. And Chair Commissioner Harla.
Here. Thank you. We have a quorum. We have two colleagues that are out on county business, and so they send their regrets today. They wish they could be here for all of these awards and these, but they continue to still be engaged. I will turn it over to Commissioner Nelson, as this is his district, in just a moment. I just have to make a brief comment that I just told Administrator Gray. My grandpa, who is buried down the road, is probably turning in his grave in excitement with an opportunity to have his granddaughter here. My mom graduated from Virginia High School, and her family was here, and so this just means a lot. As I drove into town, I drove past my Auntie Carol Rocker's house and came through, and it brought a lot of memories here. And so as I often talk about the connection between North and South, having been raised in Duluth, but my family being from here, it means a lot to be able to be here and sitting here. So thank you for having a meeting here this year, Commissioner Nelson. So if you could please make sure that we introduce Mayor Cuffey and the city councilors, if you would please welcome up. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And sometime back, we did adopt you as an adopted ranger, okay? So,
Thank you.
With that, I would, just a quick comment. This is the last time that, as a commissioner, that we will be meeting in Virginia, because by the time you transfer them around to all of the district that I represent, this is the last time we'll be in Virginia. So this is why, one of the reasons why we're doing today in Virginia with the time capsule, et cetera, et cetera. Look, it is my honor to introduce the mayor of Virginia, Mayor Larry Cuffey, and he has served this city very, very well for his years as the mayor. And I'm going to ask Larry to please introduce, I've seen a couple of councilors might have snuck in here. If you would introduce them as he comes forward, please. Mayor Cuffey.
Well, good morning. It's an honor, a privilege for me to be here today to introduce some of our city councils and recognize the staff and the St. Louis County Board. And thank you all for choosing Virginia, Minnesota for your county board meeting. I know you travel all over the place, and so we welcome you here very professionally, and we thank you for being here. Chair Harla and the rest of the commissioners, thank you for coming. And County Attorney Mackey and County Administrator Gray and all the staff, thank you and welcome to being here. I just want to say, Commissioner Nelson and I go way back to 2002 when we were running for various offices, him as a county commissioner and me as the county sheriff. and me not being successful, and Commissioner Nelson will also be very successful. So thank you for the very kind words. We have today some of our staff members here. We have Jenny Boubinet, and she's our Community Planning Development Director. And if you need anything at all during the course of your meeting, she'll be here to help you. Also in the room is one of our city councilors, Mr. Gary Freelieb. Gary Freelieb has been, actually sits in this empty chair right here. So the county board in the city of Virginia has had over the years a significant amount of collaboration going on. If it wasn't for the county, we wouldn't be as successful as we are today. And so the county board members in the past and the county board members that are currently here today and the ones in the future are going to help us shape the mold for the city of Virginia to make this a better place to live and work. And so one of the big examples is the current beautiful county building, which we collaborated on with you as well. And we're glad that you're here today. And we look forward for the 1:30 tour and the opening of the Time Capsule as well. So we're looking forward to that. So on behalf of all of us, and I want to say thank you to all those who are here for the 911 awards. I think it's an honor for the county to serve for that position, and to the members of the St. Louis County Sheriff's Department are here to help distribute those awards. So on behalf of the city of Virginia, thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at 1:30, and please have a very productive meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Cuffey. And now it is a very huge honor to be able to introduce Under Sheriff Akerson as he comes forward he's going to be presenting our Lifesaver Awards. I want to take a moment to let you know that Sheriff Gordon Ramsay was supposed to be here, but he got tied up in something else. This is his favorite event of the year and sends his significant apologies. But he was waylaid due to a concern. So Under Sheriff Akerson is a strong leader with our county, and I know we also have a number of other members of our public safety unit here as well too. So as people come up, if you could make sure to introduce them when they come up, that would be great too. And I am excited for the kids that are in the room. So if you have a hard time seeing or hearing, you're welcome to come up toward the front if you want at any time. But I just want you to know you are welcome here, and this is a place where you can learn. It might sometimes feel a little bit boring, but today is a day to celebrate life and exciting things that are coming. So Under Sheriff Akerson, thank you so much for your service and appreciate you bringing these 9 awardees forward today. So take it away. Make sure it's turned on, just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you again. We're here obviously to start the 2025 Lifesaver Awards. I thank Mayor Cuffey actually, my law enforcement route start here in Virginia. I worked for Virginia PD for 4 years before I went to the county. And Mayor Cuffey was actually my first field training officer with the sheriff's office. So much of what I have is due to his knowledge and training. And so thank you, Mayor Cuffey, Attorney Mackey, Administrator Gray, distinguished guests. We have 9 different events that we're going to recognize here today, and it's nothing short of amazing. The people stepping forward when the time comes, when the need is there, whether they're trained first responders or ordinary citizens that come across stuff that requires action. Today we are here to recognize that these people stepped forward, they did what they did, and they saved lives. And there's no greater honor than that. So bear with me. I'm going to call you up to the front. As I call up your group, if you'd come up here and stand to my left, please. We'll have folks that will hand the awards to you. And then we'll rotate out so we can keep it moving. So.
Under Sheriff Akerson, just as a note for process, we'll have each awardee come up, then they'll get some pictures up here, and then they'll head back to their seat. And then at the very end, we're all gonna crowd in here and take a picture together. So please don't leave after you get your award.
Yep, Dana Kazel will take some pictures, and then at the end, any family members that want to have individual ones, there'll be an opportunity to do that at at the end here.
And one other thing, board members, just for note, we will take a brief break right after these awards so that we can greet folks as they head out and if they want pictures. So, thank you.
Like I said, we have 9 events, but before we start, I just want to quickly mention that there are many men and women that you will not hear about in these events. The public safety team here at St. Louis County is composed of various emergency 911 communications specialists, law enforcement officers, corrections officers, as well as rescue squad volunteers, various first responders, firefighters, emergency management folks, and medical personnel, all of whom respond to thousands of events in St. Louis County every year. It is in the spirit of this team that, and as well as countless civilians that lend a helping hand when the time comes to help their neighbors in these times. It is with that we present the 2025 Lifesaver Awards. The first incident I would like to talk about, and these range from CPR saves, water emergencies, fires, shooting calls, house explosions. There are, it runs the gamut on the events that we're recognizing here today. But our first award this morning goes to one of our youngest recipients, Daniela Lee. And Daniela, if you could step forward. On the evening of September 8th, 2024, Daniela demonstrated exceptional courage and quick thinking when she performed life-saving CPR on her grandfather after he became unconscious and stopped breathing. Daniela recalls initially hearing her grandmother's screams from across the house, mistakenly thinking they were part of a TV show they were watching. It was her CPR training that she received from the Hibbing Fire Department that she credits for being able to successfully resuscitate her grandfather. Also being recognized for this role in this incident is our emergency communications specialist, Chris Bender. As a trained emergency medical dispatch telecommunicator, Chris provided critical guidance, reminders, and encouragement to both Daniela and her grandmother while paramedics were en route. So for your actions, thank you. Job well done. Thank you. All right, our next event is award is presented to 17-year-old Rogelio Noyes for his historic actions during a house fire, January 9th, 2025. In Tower. Rogelio, known as Ro, and his father Rolando remember hearing a loud noise outside of their home in Tower shortly after 9 o'clock. Looking to see what happened, they saw their elderly neighbor's house was on fire, with fire visibly spreading throughout the building. They could also see that the male was inside and struggling to open the back door due to an obstruction preventing it from opening. After calling 911, Ro ran to the neighbor's house to help force open the door. He then helped the male into the garage where they remained until the fire department arrived. Ro humbly downplays his courageous actions. In fact, it was only after learning about this incident when it was reported in the Tower Timber J News when it came to light. In fact, his friends encouraged him to share his story. So Ro, thank you for your help in saving a life. It is something that you should obviously be proud of. Okay. Next, this one garnered a lot of media attention. It was a pretty extensive event. It occurred on May 18th, 2024, and it was a tragic drowning on Curtin Falls, which is right up on the Canadian border in a very remote area of the Boundary Waters canoe area. From the initial phone call to the final moments of recovery efforts, hundreds of hours were dedicated to both rescue and recovery operations during this incident. However, it was the actions of Nicholas Nelson and Tony Maynard during the early moments of this weeks-long incident that earned recognition and a nomination from a member of the Virginia Fire Department. While camping and fishing in the area, Nicholas was the first to make contact with the injured parties. They had gone over the falls, and two were very badly hurt and two were unaccounted for. There were 4 total, 2 were unaccounted for, 2 were badly hurt. While camping and fishing, Nicholas made contact with the injured parties, went back, informed his camping party, Tony, of the situation. Both Nicholas and Tony assisted the injured individuals to what ultimately became the makeshift landing zone used during the evacuation efforts. Tony was also responsible for making the first 911 call to report the incident, and for the next 4 hours, both he and Nicholas provided care for the injured parties until help could arrive. This location, again, is a very remote, I mean, it's a stone's throw literally to Canada. So, like it says, you know, they sat with these people for 4 hours and tendered aid. As part of this, one of the first responders to respond was a helicopter pilot from the Minnesota DNR. We are honored to have in our presence Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Officer Pilot Grace Zeller with us this morning. Grace, if you could come forward. Without hesitation, Grace responded to a request from our rescue squad and our agency for assistance in the first critical hours of this incident. When many other air services were unable to fly and with many unknowns, Grace acted immediately, ultimately playing a crucial role in this rescue. And not only did she fly once into the area, she delivered a party and came back and picked up the second one in the middle of the night. It's an honor. Thank you for your service. So often in these tragic circumstances, we see humble heroes emerge, and this is the very reason why the Lifesaver Awards are so special. So thank you again, Grace. Next is law enforcement officers, responders, and telecommunicators take great pride in their service to the public. It's a rare occasion when we are called on to save one of our own. But that's what happened on the morning of September 3rd, 2024, when several of our St. Louis County deputies were attending a defensive tactics training class. While they were preparing for the class and getting going, one of our deputies, Scott Garrick, collapsed. Investigator Matt Miranda, along with deputies Blair Twaddle, Riley McLean, Kyle Volsky, and Dar Giancola swiftly responded. If you guys could step up, please, and be recognized. It was swiftly that these 5 individuals responded. They administered critical aid that included the multiple uses of the automatic external defibrillator, AED, CPR, and supplemental oxygen. And they kept Scott alive. And it is an honor to work with all 5 of you. And I mean that. Thank you. Scott, you want to stand up and just, this is Scott. And I guess I just want to note, as we go through these awards, you know, obviously the gravity is Scott and all these people that are saved have time to, you know, spend time with family members, and what an honor. There's no bigger honor than that for these awards. So the next one is, today we also recognize Deputy Josh Eder, Emergency Communications Specialist Don Walters, and Paramedic Cody Hansen for their actions during a cardiac arrest incident in the Embarrass area in December 2023. Throughout the 18-minute phone call, emergency communications specialist Don Walters provided critical medical direction and CPR instructions to the caller deputy editor, and subsequently paramedic Cody Hansen arrived on the scene. Without the actions of these individuals, the outcome for the female involved in this incident would have been much more dire. So thank you, gentlemen, for your service and efforts that day. The next couple I speak of are water-related incidences that happened only hours within one another. The first one is Louis Maglin, as well as Lucas Martin, Crawford Nichols, Lindsay Everett, and Danielle Mazio for their quick action taken during a water emergency at the end of Park Point on July 12, 2024. Louis noticed a male reaching for his 8-year-old daughter when she was swimming nearby. Louis then learned that the male had been asking her for help. After signaling for help, Louis entered the water by himself and located the male's submerged body. Louis was able to carry the male to shore where Lucas, Lindsay, and Danielle provided successfully CPR until paramedics arrived. And also, I'll just continue into the next one. We also recognize Christian Romanstead for taking swift action, again, just 22 hours later during a separate water emergency on Caribou Lake. After noticing an individual struggling in the water after falling off a jet ski, Christian was able to bring the man to shore where medical personnel were able to attend to him. In talking to the victim, he is convinced that Christian's efforts saved his life. For all receiving recognition for these incidents, your quick action, training, and selflessness and willingness to help played a crucial role in saving 2 lives. Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize 2 good Samaritans, Ellen Williams and Gregory Ryder, who took the time to stop and help an unknown male found laying along the side of Highway 73 with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his chest and neck area. While many are understandably preoccupied by the demands of their day, it's easy to overlook the needs of others. On the evening of June 24th, Ellen noticed a male partied down on the ground covered in blood. Due to a bad cell phone connection, Ellen needed to wave down another passerby, Gregory, who was able to complete the 911 call. It is because Ellen and Gregory made the choice to stop and help someone in need that medical care was given in a timely manner and ultimately saving the gentleman's life. So, thank you. And finally, we recognize a family that jumped into action as their neighbor's house exploded on November 2nd, 2023. Les, Lisa, and Amber Ranking were able to pull 2 victims from the debris and care for them until medical help arrived. Trusting God, her parents, and the skills that she learned in the St. Louis County Sheriff's Office Explorers Program, Amber remembers setting aside the fear and feeling the need to act. But standing back and watching was just not an option. Both families involved in this incident, without warning, found themselves in the middle of an extraordinary event. By the grace of God and with the help of the Ranking family responding so quickly, we are thankful that no lives were lost during this incident. So thank you, both of you. So with that, that concludes our awards. I just want to close with thank you for everybody taking the time to attend this. The commissioners and the distinguished guests for taking the time to recognize that what our citizens do, what our first responder groups do, what our emergency management responders do matters. And like I said, these actions here give your loved ones another day to spend with family, friends, and be here. So there's no bigger honor than that. It's people helping people, and what an honor. So thank you.
Colleagues, if anyone would like to say anything prior to photos, if there's anything our Chair of Public Safety would like to say in response, if you wouldn't mind me putting you on the spot, Commissioner Grimm.
I just genuinely want to thank all of our staff and our community members who came in today. This is a really amazing moment to be able to see just what people can do when there's a crisis, and we're really there to help each other out. So thank you for the family members that came in. Thank you to Under Sheriff Akerson too for taking over for Sheriff Ramsey today. And I'm so excited we get to celebrate this. This is genuinely one of my favorite presentations of the year. It really gives you hope and humanity.
Thank you. Colleagues, anything? Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I've said this before, and I believe it more today than I ever have. The St. Louis County Sheriff's Department is the premier law enforcement agency in northeastern Minnesota. And it is great to see the DNR working with our group. But I mean, when I watch the work that's done day in and day out by our Sheriff's Department, I'm sorry, I continue to be impressed, and it's these types of actions where they get recognized. But the truth is, I hope that people are recognizing every day traffic safety, the safety efforts, all of the other pieces that are going on out there, because this is a pretty special group of people, and they associate themselves well, because that's how you build that team. But our Sheriff's Department has always been a source of pride. Thank you.
Right, seeing I just want to thank everyone, these, Under Sheriff Akerson, the words that you're able to share and these stories that you knit represent so much collaboration and partnership. And I love the comment about people being able to spend more time with their families. That's incredibly important. So if you work for the Sheriff's Department, received an award, or if you're comfortable, if your life was saved, if you'd like to come forward to join a picture, I'll have board members come up here and everybody pull in. Everyone else, please come in this way. And Dana right over here is going to take the photo. That would be great. So come on up. Please come all the way up.
Paul stands on the lower step.
Yeah.
Why don't you just face them outward a little bit? Okay.
Just throw an elbow, Jason.
If you're a family member of someone that has received an award, you can also come up too. If you're in the family, if you're a kiddo, you can come up as well.
Want to get Dana in the picture?
Colleagues, we'll take a 5-minute reset if you want to greet any of the awardees. Thank you. We'll reconvene at 10:35. All right. Before we get started, again, Mayor Cuffey asked if he could have a moment to say one additional thing. So you're welcome forward again, Mayor Cuffey. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the 2 minutes. I appreciate it. We just witnessed the incredible acts of courage and responsibility of citizenship on the 911 awards. So I might get a little emotional about this, but I just want to say it's stuck in my craw and in my heart for so many years. I want to recognize your undersheriff right there. Undersheriff Akerson, August 3rd, 1996. We were on patrol on a Sunday morning, FTO, Field Training Officer, first day. Experienced police officer, easy work. He's riding with me on the first day. Sunday morning, we got a call, shots fired, deputy shot up on Lake Vermilion. So we responded from Mountain Iron because it was an emergency situation. Being a Sunday, not very many deputies on duty. It was Jason Akerson's father who was shot. We responded to that scene, and to show you the professionalism of Undersheriff Akerson, we got there. It was one state trooper there, and we were the first 2 on the scene. We need to set up a perimeter. He said, check on your father. He checked on it right away. The ambulance was there, and he chose to stay at the scene and help set up a perimeter to keep that suspect contained until additional help arrived. So I just want to give you that story and just recognize that's why he's here today. That's why he's your undersheriff. The courage, the commitment to duty, and the responsibility he takes seriously as a peace officer. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mayor Cuffey. Thank you, Undersheriff Akerson. Mr. Humble most days, and so it's nice that other people get to sing your praises. So thank you for your service with our county. It's valued and appreciated. All right, we are going to move next onto our public hearing. Public hearing pursuant to resolution number 25-84 adopted February 11th, 2025, to solicit public input regarding the adoption of the proposed St. Louis County Floodplain Ordinance 69, resolution 25-64. Do I have a motion to open this public meeting? I don't need a motion. All right, I will keep going. So this public meeting is open. I read the introduction, and now I will make sure, here's the order that we will go through for this public meeting. First, the St. Louis County Administration will make an initial. Oh, thank you. This is my first public hearing as chair. Thank you for coming along with me for this ride. I will turn it over to Clerk Chapman to read the introduction.
Okay, thank you, Chair Harla. This public hearing is being conducted pursuant to applicable Minnesota statutes and the standing rules of the county board. A copy of the standing rules is available upon request. A formal record will be made of the proceedings. Accordingly, we request that all speakers sign in and state your name and address at the beginning of your testimony. Both verbal and documentary evidence will be accepted by the board. The order for the hearing will be as follows. First, St. Louis County Administration will make the initial presentation. Second, representatives of other governmental entities may appear and give testimony. Third, supporters of the proposed action may appear and give testimony. Next, opponents of the proposed action may appear and give testimony. And lastly, other comments or evidence from the public. Commissioners may question witnesses at the end of their testimony or at the end of all testimony.
Thank you, Clerk Chapman. So I will now turn it over to the St. Louis County Administration to make our initial presentation. Administrator Gray?
Thank you, Chair Harrell. On behalf of Administration, Deputy Director for Planning and Zoning, Donald Rigney, will be making the presentation regarding the adoption of St. Louis County Floodplain Ordinance 69.
Thank you. Welcome forward.
Madam Chair, Donald Rigney, those of you that don't know me, I'm actually the current land use manager of the Planning and Zoning Land Use Division. And I'm here to talk about Ordinance 69, the floodplain ordinance. This was brought to our attention back in late 2023. FEMA decided that they were going to update the flood insurance rate maps. And then through this process, it was determined that our current floodplain ordinance 43 that was adopted approximately 33 years ago wasn't up to date with current federal and state regulations for floodplain standards. So it was then determined that we needed a full floodplain ordinance rewrite in addition to just adopting the updated firm maps. Back in November of 2024, we held a Planning Commission workshop. And then following that recommendations, we ran the proposed ordinance through the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, got conditional approval through them, then put it out through public notice, then held the public hearing on this ordinance through the PC in January of 2025. They made the recommendation to move it on to county board. Ultimately, the need for this ordinance would be for St. Louis County residents in the in our zoning jurisdiction must have this adopted in order to continue to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program and to obtain flood insurance. In addition to that, the Planning and Zoning Department to still be able to issue land use permits for structures within the floodplain. Some of the notable pieces through this process that came up is we requested that the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources do a statistical analysis on the base flood elevation of Lake Vermilion.
Just one moment. Could you talk a little bit closer to the microphone?
I
Thank you.
apologize.
It's okay. Thank you.
Do a statistical analysis on the base flood elevation of Lake Vermilion. The outcome of that was that the floodplain base flood elevation was reduced by 1.5 feet, which is a direct benefit to all the landowners and residents on Lake Vermilion, and has a direct effect on their flood zone designation for their current structures and any proposed structures in the future. Another notable piece of this ordinance update would be what is considered a minimal investment accessory structure. So these are structures for parking and storage primarily. Current ordinance 43 is limited at 500 square feet. The proposed ordinance would up that to 576 square feet. And basically this is just these minimal investment structures could be wet flood proofed. Another notable piece is these new firm maps are now digitized. So there's no more paper stipple maps. It's all digital. It's more accurate based on LiDAR. Currently these are on the FEMA website, but upon approval, they'll be also incorporated in the County Land Explorer so the residents can have kind of their one-stop shop for zoning. That covers the highlights of it. So kind of the bottom line is in order for the residents within St. Louis County's zoning jurisdiction to continue to get or obtain flood insurance, the county has to adopt this updated ordinance and the firm maps to allow that. So with that I conclude my presentation of the highlights. So if you have any questions of me, I'll do my best to answer.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions? I do know this was passed by the Planning Commission before it came to us, so that's great. I'm sure there was significant discussion. Colleagues, are there any comments that folks would like to make or questions? Seeing none, thank you. You can sit down, and if we have further questions, please stick around. Next, if we have any representatives of other governmental entities, you may appear and give testimony. Other governmental entities. Other governmental entities. Okay, seeing none, we'll then move on to supporters of the proposed action may appear and give testimony. Do we have any supporters? Supporters, okay. Opponents of the proposed action, you may appear and give testimony. Opponents, okay. And then other comments or evidence from the public. Seeing no motion, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Commissioner Nelson, supported by Commissioner McDonald. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Now I'd ask for a motion to approve the resolution in front of us.
I'm sure it'd be my honor, but I would like the commissioner from the district to make it, and I can support it.
I would gladly move that, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Nelson. Any discussion? Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Look, we went through this very quickly, and it doesn't seem like a big deal. This is a really big deal. This is a foot and a half. I mean, we're what are we talking? A foot and a half, no big deal, right? When you're on Lake Vermilion, a foot and a half of dropping the flood plain, a foot and a half is huge. This not only helps our people with flood insurance, it helps them to be able to get mortgages, which before, if your property showed up on a floodplain, you couldn't get a loan to purchase property or to improve property on Lake Vermilion. This will make, once this is out there and once we have it all built into our LiDAR and everything else, you will see people all around the Lake Vermilion Basin taking advantage of this opportunity to build in places where, quite frankly, they couldn't build before, or they had to build with special provisions and that were pretty onerous. This is, again, it seems like a really little deal. I can tell you that the Planning Commission, and even at my age, we were doing cartwheels when we got this finally in and ready to go and passed it, because we would hear these things over and over again about the floodplain, and we knew the information that was there was not accurate. We've known it for a number of years. It's finally getting updated, and that update is going to mean more opportunities for people that live in the Lake Vermilion Basin. I'll call it the basin, but it's basically anybody who's immediately adjacent to Lake Vermilion. So, commissioners, I hope you can all support this. I can tell you that once the word's out on the street, we will hear nothing but positives on this. And if I may, Madam Chair, I'd like to mention, Donald is since taking over that position in our planning department, between Ryan and Donald, they are leading this effort. This is not something that's coming to us. This is something we pursued and we're getting. And we pursued it to get it because of the work that our folks put in. So this is it. The humility that he brought it forward with is fine, but the fact of the matter is without his efforts and Ryan's efforts, this would not be here today. The Planning Commission, again, very, very supportive of this. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Any further comments? Commissioner McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Big thanks to the Planning Commission, who in their role always has some tough decisions to make. And they are well thought out. In this instance, on average, probably 3 to 4 calls a month in my office regarding this issue. I will be more than happy through the work of Donald and his team to be able to now echo the results of the 1.5 feet. And as Commissioner Nelson says, it doesn't seem like a big deal till you're there. And, it will spur some development. And also neighboring communities are now taking a look at floodplain ordinances and being able to tweak what they have, redo what they have, whatever type of terminology you'd like to use on that. It just puts us in a position, as St. Louis County, working for its residents, to be able to offer them alternatives now that were not available in the past. So kudos to the Planning Department and the Planning Commission, and I'm honored to make this motion and hope the rest of the board will support it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Grimm?
I also want to say I'm really grateful to Planning Commission staff, to the Planning Commission and then to staff who are incorporating this into our County Land Explorer. Our County Land Explorer is really a model in the state. I've heard a lot of other counties who are really jealous of our resource that we have there. So that's a big part about making this information more accessible to the public. So thank you.
Commissioner Nelson? Thank you. I'm eager to hear that other people are following suit. This is one of those times that we as the county can help lead with resources, and people can provide assurance and partnership with us. So thank you so much. Seeing no further discussion coming forward, will all those in favor please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. The motion passes. And now I will take a motion to close the public hearing. No? Oh, it's closed. Okay. Whew, I will know how to do this swimmingly next time. Thank you. It's interesting, you sit through these and listen to it happen, but you get up front and you think about it. Yeah, that's why we get Phil. I mean, this one I'm not sure, but I'm glad I have him here today. All right, do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Okay, moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Grimm. Any discussions or items to pull down? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That passes. Our next two items, we are going to have to suspend the rules due to needing to address them today. I know we did have last week off for a number of reasons, and so we will move in that. So do I have a motion to suspend the rules? One moment. Am I able to suspend the rules for both of them? Am I able to suspend the rules for both of them, or do I need to suspend both things? Okay. So do I have a motion to suspend the rules for Resolution 25-65? Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Nelson, supported by Commissioner Boyle. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Great. The rules have been suspended. Now bringing forward the Finance and Budget Committee, the establishment, Resolution 25-65, the establishment of a public hearing regarding application for off-sale intoxicating liquor license by Shergill Gateway General Store LLC. Do I have a motion to approve this? Moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Nelson. I will hand it over to administration. Oh, it's actually just a public hearing, so. Anything additional? Okay, great. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Great. Thank you. Next, we have, we need to suspend the rules again. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by Commissioner Boyle, supported by Commissioner Grimm. All those in favor of suspending the rules, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Great, passes unanimously. Next, we have so we will take this up, the Resolution 25-66, authorization to apply and accept federal recreational trail program grant and provide sponsorship of CC Riders Snowmobile Club for trail maintenance equipment purchase. Do I have a motion for this?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Nelson. Now administration.
Thank you, Chair Harla and Commissioners. The action before the board is to approve the county's role as being a grant and aid sponsor for the CC Riders Snowmobile Club. The club is looking to access grant funds for the purchase of grooming equipment. This is something that the county has tapped into on a number of fronts. We're fortunate to have really robust clubs, both snowmobile and ATV clubs. And for those that don't know, CC stands for Cotton Canyon Area. There's a local match of 25%. The total equipment cost is projected to be $100,000. 70,000 through the grant process, and that we would be the grant and aid sponsor for the club, and 25% the local match would be provided by the club. So there's no financial interest by the county, but we get to facilitate this opportunity to see that the trails are groomed and ready to go and that they have good equipment.
Thank you, Administrator Gray. Any comments? Right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. That does it for our regular agenda today. I do want to note that later today, and I'm going to pass it over to Commissioner Nelson to talk a little bit more about this, but our board will be gathering at 1:30 at the St. Louis County Government Services Center next door for the Liz Prebich Conference Room for the grand opening of a Time Capsule with the ability to people take tours of our Government Services Center. Someplace that opened in the middle of COVID, and now we get a chance to open wide the doors for our community to celebrate a large investment that has been coming. So I really appreciate the work that Commissioner Nelson has put into this. Excited to see this Time Capsule and appreciate all this. Is there anything you'd like to add, Commissioner Nelson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have some comments. I've been thinking about this for quite a while, okay? And when we, the county board, and you might hear me say I a couple times in here. I don't mean I mean we, because it is we. But we, the county board, took on the different projects throughout St. Louis County. I will tell you that I continually told the county board, for those of you that were around, I continually told the county board, I will wait till last for the Virginia building. I will wait till we have all the other buildings, whether it's in Duluth or in Hibbing or some of the different renovations we were doing in different places. We would wait with this building until last. I knew it was going to be one of the most expensive ones. But what we started in Virginia, and with the cooperation of the city of Virginia, because if you notice here, folks, they closed the street in order for us to build out this building, put the necessary parking into place, which still isn't enough, but we're getting closer, okay? But that has started a bit of a renaissance here in Virginia, because as you drove in this morning, some of you, not the ones that drove in from the north, but some of you saw the new public safety building that's being built here in Virginia. It's much, much, much needed. What a tremendous investment by this community. But just 2 blocks to the west of here is the brand new North Star School, which a huge investment of the school board that just opened, by the way, this year. Later today, we'll have 25 young adults from that school that are coming over to attend our Time Capsule opening, okay? And again, one of them happens to be my granddaughter, so.
The pumpkin
So
queen.
behave, all of you, behave,
Yeah.
okay? No, it's really kind of cool to see that, and I might add, and I kind of bummed that Commissioner Musaf isn't sitting here, because I noticed that that particular school that always goes to the state tournament is no longer in the state tournament hunt. We'll just leave it at that, but the investment that the people of Virginia made in ITMEC, which is the Iron Trail Convention and Visitor Center with the 2 hockey rinks, very proud to say that the Rock Ridge team is playing Thursday night in the championship game in Duluth. So these types of investments that are made by bodies like this, that they really have tremendous impact on communities. And again, we were the first in making this investment, but that has spurred a number of other things they were kind of in the works, but everybody was waiting to see what was going to happen. St. Louis County, investments that we have made in our community, and I did some looking back here in the last week and a half or two. I don't have all the numbers together yet, but I will have them by the next meeting. We're looking at, just in public works facilities alone, in the last 20 years, I only went back as far as I've been on the board, and not even quite that far, but close to that. Almost $100 million spent on public works facilities. That is a tremendous, tremendous investment by this board and previous boards that quite frankly will stand the test of time. Because these structures are going to be here 80, 90, 100 years from now, just like the building we're going to be visiting this afternoon. And I wanted to recognize, because you've heard me say this before, that when I leave this board in 2 years, not quite 2 years, but when I do, the day after I'm gone, they'll say, Keith who, okay? Actually, what they'll say is Keith Musaf, but that'll work, okay? But I wanted to mention the commissioners that have been around during that period in time, because we all know that we're just representing the people of this county for a period of time. But in the first district, your district, Madam Chair, we had Commissioner Fink, we had Commissioner Jewell, and then Commissioner Harla. In the second district, and this is the quiz I gave Commissioner Boyle a little earlier today, and he passed, I might add. In the second district, Joanne Fay, Steve O'Neill, people that we all remember. Angie Miller. Okay? Angie Miller. How many people remember that this county board appointed Angie to fill out Steve's term as he passed in office? And then, again, to Commissioner Boyle. Third district, Bill Crone. Bill was here for 24 years. I mean, he was an institution. Still sends me a Christmas card every Christmas. Still talk to him on occasion. Just a wonderful man, okay? And a tremendous commissioner. Chris Dahlberg, true to his word. I'm only going to run 2 terms. He ran 2 terms. He left the board. That was true to his word. How many politicians are true to their word? He was. And then moving on, it was, of course, Beth Olson, and now Commissioner Grimm. Fourth district, we've been short, we've been tall, we've been all over the map in the fourth district. But Mike Forsman, Mike was there a long, long time. Look, if we want to thank someone for the investment in public works, Mike was actually a national figure in public works. He had the luxury I might add, of having the chair of the Transportation Committee in the U.S. House in office while he was the chair of transportation here in St. Louis County. A luxury that probably none of us will ever have again, but certainly Mike took full advantage of that. Tom Rukavina, you know, some of the things that Tom brought to this board, we would shake our heads about from time to time. But ATVs, you know, it's not possible. We can't do that. There's no way that'll work. Well, guess what? With the leadership of his successor, Commissioner McDonald, and Commissioner Yugovich over in the 7th District, wow, look what's happened with ATVs. It's almost unbelievable. I want to hit the 5th District, Commissioner Sweeney, who led the effort, quite frankly, on and worked very, very closely with us on the redoing the rules on hunting shack leases and all of the things that were very necessary to build out a lot of that infrastructure that we didn't have before. And then, of course, Congressman Pete Stauber and today Keith Musoff. 7th District, we had Steve Rocker. Look, on NLX, really and honestly, what I have done is picked up the ball from the work that Steve Rocker had done. And he was a tremendous leader on NLX, got us a long ways down the road, and now hopefully to the finish line here sometime in early May. And then, of course, Mike Yugovich. And then in this district, it's been, yeah. But it's interesting to look back. And again, as I was doing that little retrospect, I had to go and look up Angie's name because I just didn't remember her last name, okay? But I'll share this list with commissioners just because it's kind of, we think it's been so long. That's just in the last 20 years, folks. That's a lot of people. Almost in every district, it's 3 and 4 people. That's a big commitment by a lot of folks that came from, good gracious, many different walks of life, from police officers to coaches, to business people, to attorneys, to people from the medical profession, all kind of contributing in what I call a renaissance in building in this county. Because we took on the challenges of investing in this community at a time when people were not necessarily doing that. But we took advantage of incredibly low interest rates. We took advantage of the people in our building trades that were very dedicated to making sure that these things happen. And later on today, you're going to get to see an example of that. And I couldn't be more proud. This is the only, by the way, the only public health and human services or government service center that St. Louis County built from the ground up, where we tore down the old building and literally poured the foundation and went up with it. All of the others were renovations or some form of fixing that sick building in Duluth, okay? Everybody knew. All you had to do was say the sick building, and everybody knew what you were talking about. Our public health and human services, or our government service center in Duluth, is state of the art today. That's a commitment from this board. In Hibbing, we had been all over the place in rented space, and some of it less than desirable, I might add. And I remember walking into the Glacier Shopping Center and having to step over the hole in the carpet because if you didn't, you would trip over it. And that was where our Health and Human Services folks worked every day. Today, we purchased the old Masaba Clinic building, renovated it. We have a state-of-the-art office there, state-of-the-art. Veteran Services, it's a one-stop shop in Hibbing as well as it is here and in Duluth. So those are commitments, okay, that as we move forward with the Hibbing facility, it's just another step in this commitment that I believe this county board has had to making certain that the buildings that serve the people we serve and the buildings that our employees have to go to work in each and every day, that they need to be safe, they need to be good, comfortable workspace, they need to be that place of pride for them as well. We've made those investments, and I can tell you that the building that was immediately next, if you look out the window behind Commissioner McDonald, the building that was immediately next to that we're going to be opening the Time Capsule for, I might add, today. The old Northland building, Northland office building, was originally built as a skating rink with a basketball court. Commissioner McDonald, of all things, a basketball court upstairs of an ice rink, okay? A dance hall. It was all of the things that, and it'll be very, very interesting to see what comes out of that, Time Capsule today. I want to take just one more minute. All of you will be so impressed with the 6-minute film that we had done by one of our newest staff members, I might add. I'll allow them to introduce it when we get over there. But it's pretty incredible, that little look back that's being done. And again, what an investment we made in having someone who can put that together. I expect that that's going to see a lot of use over the next several months, because I expect people are going to pick that up and grab it and say, hey, we need to talk about this. This is part of history. So, Madam Chair, I've gone on way too long, but I think it's important that we, every now and again as a board, we take a look back and please feel that sense of pride that you all should have, okay? And I would be remiss if I did not give credit to, as we've gone down this journey, okay, if I did not give credit to our administrator, who's been there for the vast majority of it, the leaps of faith that we've taken, along with our auditor's office. Auditor Dicklich and Auditor Nielsen have been there 100% of the way with us. So we are indeed fortunate to have the team that we have in place, but I want commissioners to feel the sense of pride in what we have accomplished. And we're just going to see an example of it today, and we still got work to do, folks. We're not looking back now just to say, we're done with that. The hell we're done with that. There's plenty of stuff yet to do, and the Hibbing Public Works facility is yet but another example of stuff that needs to be done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Further comments? Commissioner Grimm?
In hearing the life safety awards stories, it really got me thinking not only about human resiliency, but also about taking care of our caretakers. And so I'm curious if staff could send us, or maybe Under Sheriff Akerson could send us a list of any resources that are given or a protocol on what we provide people who do intervene in those life-saving emergencies. I think about kind of the onset of PTSD, some of the coping skills that people are going to have to use afterwards. And so I would love to just touch base about that and see if maybe protocol can be shared so we can reflect on if there's any other ways as a county board we should be supporting our citizens in the follow-up of these really life-altering events.
Administrator Gray? Did you have a response? Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Grimm. That's a good point. Anything further? Commissioner McDonald?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To piggyback, I'd like to thank Counselor Friedlieb for attending and appreciate his thoughtfulness. He's always been known as a thinker, and he does his homework. Gary and I go back to high school days, blue streaks against the Blue Devils, and you name it, we crossed paths in a variety of sports. But when he decided to get into city work, when I saw his name come across as a candidate, I knew he was going to be one of the people that the city of Virginia could trust with their best interests at hand. And I appreciate you sitting through this today. And to piggyback on a couple things that Commissioner Nelson said, the team that shall not be mentioned that got beat by Hibbing Chisholm, Commissioner Jugovich texted me this morning and said that, would you please mention Hibbing Chisholm moving on to the section finals after their upset of that unnamed team. And congratulations to them as they try to win one more game to get to the state tournament, and also to the Rock Ridge Wolverines as they're at the door of gaining their first trip to the state tournament in hockey. So good news around the range, and thanks. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner, a brief comment to Commissioner Nelson's comment. You talk about how fast time flies. And a professor once told me, when you're celebrating birthdays at a young age, when you turn 1, it's 1 year of your life. If you turn 5, a year is 1/5 of your life. And so by 20 years, it's 1 year is 1/20th of your life. And as we look at those retrospectives, it's so important to know it might seem like it's going faster, but it just gets more meaningful the more that we can do, and appreciate the history of all these boards working together. And the political differences people have had and the ability to keep serving our folks because we don't have to have a letter behind our name is a really powerful opportunity. So, yes? Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. And I would say the unanimous doesn't come at just everybody saying yes. If people really are doing that background work, which I appreciate working with each of you. Administrator Gray, did you have a comment? No? Okay.
Well, no, I would just piggyback on.
I mean, I know you're from the city that must not be named. I'm just kidding. We do celebrate Hermantown as well.
You slipped there. Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Commissioner Nelson for the history lesson. Actually, I think if you throw in the investments we made in our truck station, public works facilities, I think the number's even bigger than 100 million. It's a really, as you reflect on it, and I saw some email correspondence going back as we gathered some facts, we really focused on our citizen-facing buildings, and so the investment has been incredible. And of course, we've been very aggressive in bonding and really righting the ship to make significant progress on our road, our quality, pavement quality indexes and our safety measures. And so it was, as you went through the history, and then most of the commissioners that you referenced, I think all of them, with the exception of one name, I've had the opportunity to also work for and with. So it was interesting. And to Commissioner Grimm's comment earlier on the public safety front and the supports for our personnel. Sheriff Ramsey and Under Sheriff Akerson have been really aggressive in looking at mental health supports, outreach to our art people, in whether it's throughout the sheriff's office, whether it's our deputies or 911, emergency management. So I really appreciated the thoughtfulness behind that remark, and I know that that will resonate not only with the undersheriff, but we'll share that with Sheriff Ramsey as well. We'll give you some feedback on some of those protocols as well. So thank you for that thoughtfulness on a day where we celebrate really lives saved and heroes that stepped up to do that. So thank you, and thank you for your graciousness in working with all of this, Chair Harla. This has been a full day and a lot of good things happening, so thank you.
Thank you. I do want to make sure, I think Commissioner Grimm was saying, yes, our staff, but also if there's someone that is not within our staff, if we're providing a list of resources, just, am I making sure that I'm reflecting that correctly? Okay, great, thank you. All right. Seeing no further comments, all those, do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Commissioner Grimm, supported by Commissioner McDonald. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That meeting is closed. Do we need a break or can we keep rolling? That's great. If folks need to step out or do something during committee of the whole, that's great. Commissioner McDonald.
Madam Chair, I'm just wondering and ask, as we do have people waiting on the last item of the agenda, if we could move those in respect for their time as we move forward with the committee of the whole.
Absolutely. So we'll start the committee of the whole. If folks need to step out or grab water, that's fine. Do I have a motion to, excuse me, Clerk Chapman, will you please call roll?
Commissioner Boyle. Commissioner Grimm.
Here.
Commissioner McDonald. Commissioner Musaf. Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Yurevich. And Chair Commissioner Harlow.
Here. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Boyle, supported by Commissioner Grimm. Any discussion or items to pull down? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Great, that passes. I'm going to move the Environment and Natural Resources Committee up to be first, and Commissioner McDonald's going to take that today. And so if you want to take that away. Today, Chair of Environment and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and then thank you for the movement of this to the front of the agenda for our citizens who are here in respect for their time. Really appreciate that moving forward. First up, we have Board Letter 25-79, which is a memorandum of agreement to develop and adopt the Little Fork Watershed Management Plan and appoint a policy committee member and alternate to the Little Fork Watershed Policy Committee. And I'm just wondering, with this motion, if I can name those people that will be assuming those roles on the committee.
Yes.
I bring forth as our member, Commissioner Jugovich, and myself as the alternate moving forward. And I would move that, and supported by Commissioner Nelson. With that, I'll turn it over to administration.
Thank you, Chair McDonald. And we also have Donald Rigney here as a land manager. And I'll get the automatic promotion. You had the opportunity. You should have just gone with it, Donald. Sorry about that. And but commissioners, the action before the board is to approve this entering into a memorandum of agreement to develop as the LGUs, responsible LGUs, or local government units, a coordinated watershed management plan for the Little Fork watershed area. This is primarily in districts 4 and 7, and it rests with, my understanding, it rests with actually the Soil and Water Conservation District in Koochiching County. And so we'll be working with them. It's required that we identify a commissioner and alternate to this group. That nomination has been made, Commissioner Jugovich with Commissioner McDonald as the alternate. And this is, I think, our third and final watershed. We've had the Rainy River watershed and the St. Louis River watershed. So continued progress. The prior two watersheds, of course, were sponsored by our soil and water conservation districts in St. Louis County, and this is in coordination with Koochiching County. So good progress being made, and we continue the work, and we'll lean into Koochiching County and their soil and water conservation district for this. And I appreciate the willingness of the commissioners to be on this committee and serve to ensure that we get a good outcome, which I think we're on a very good path already.
Thank you, Administrator Gray. Any other comments, questions from board members? Mr. Rigney, anything to add?
You can come forward to the light, please, or to the microphone. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll make sure to speak up this time. I don't really have anything else further to add. Aside from the commissioners participating on the policy committee, there'll also be staff on the steering committee. So there'll be representation in the piece that will ultimately bring the recommendations to the policy committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we have Board Letter 25-80. It's the application for a Lessard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Grant for purchase of Phase 2 lands offered by the Conservation Fund. Moved by Commissioner Harla, supported by Commissioner Boyle. And we do have Jason Meyer, our Land and Minerals Director, here today to walk us through that. I'm assuming, Administrator Gray, pass it over to.
If you want an accurate and thorough overview, we'll turn it over to the Land Commissioner and Director, Jason Meyer. We also have a guest here because this will be a partnership and an opportunity as we apply for grant funds and utilize a partner to help with the administration of the grant, but a great partnership between the DNR and our Land and Minerals Department. So Director, Land Commissioner Meyer, if you'd walk the board through this application and the positive benefits that we're going to see with respect to our management of lands, both county and state.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, good morning. I think it's still morning. I'm Jason Meyer. I'm the Director of the Land and Minerals Department here to talk about a grant application that we're proposing to apply for, asking for your support to the Lessard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Council. In this application, the St. Louis County would, if fully funded, would acquire upwards of 9,200 acres, and the state DNR upwards of 9,000 acres of productive forest lands. It's important to note that these forest lands are intermixed with our current forest land base for both agencies. And if supported by the board, these lands would come in to the county as county-owned fee lands, and to the state, the lands that would come to the state, be acquired by the state, would come to them as lands that are subject to PILT payments to the county. Important to note, we're proposing to acquire, the lands we are proposing to acquire are controlled by the Conservation Fund, These lands were former BWCA Plan B lands. This is the project that the board supported a number of years ago. They've been tied up in the county for a number of years. And just on a personal note, I was like, boy, I wish we'd have had a chance to be part of that, because a lot of those lands fit really well into our land base. That BWCA Plan B project did not come to fruition. And as a result, the Conservation Fund is making these lands available to the DNR and to the county. So we have a window of opportunity, a unique opportunity to acquire some former potlatch lands to strengthen our revenue-generating land base. I also want to point out that grant applications are a lot of work, come with a skill set. So in this application, if supported by the board, the DNR would be the grant administrator, and I am talking to a conservation group, the Northern Waters Land Trust, to carry the load potentially for the county. Those talks are still ongoing, but I wanted to bring this to the board early to secure support for this project, answer any of your questions, concerns, and make sure we have that support. I know there's been a lot of land transactions coming to the board as of late, and I think one reason that is, you know, over the last decade, the board has been really supportive of obtaining those strategic key former potlatch lands that are intermixed with ours to add to our land base where it makes sense. And I think we're coming to the later stages of that. We're coming, and this is probably one of the last biggest land opportunities we would have involving those former potlatch lands. So with that, here to answer any of your questions, concerns, but yeah, we're asking for your support to submit this grant application. And if successful, you know, and we would, the board would be required to accept the certain parcels that the grant funds purchase at a future board meeting. So you'd have another shot at this too, so.
Thank you, Jason. Any questions, comments? Hearing or seeing, Commissioner Nelson.
Mr. Chair, one thing that curiosity
Don't forget your,
These actually are wider than that, so, yeah, they're countywide. They're down from, the majority of the ones that we are looking at picking up here, I would say the majority are in the Winchester Lake area, up in the Cook area. There's been a number of transactions that we've been consolidating, both us and the DNR, and, but actually they're countywide. Potlatch lands, when potlatch was fully functional, they were intermixed with our land base. We shared similar accesses, and there was a reason why potlatch owned those. They were productive forest lands, so, yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. All right, that motion carries. Thank you, Jason. Next up, we have Board Letter 25-81. It is the cancellation of contracts for purchase or repurchase of state tax forfeited land. I know we do have some people present that want to speak on this as well. I would move it. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Harla. Turn it over to administration.
Thank you, Chair McDonald. And the action before the board is to approve commencement of the cancellation process for tax forfeited land parcels that are currently in default. And and take the necessary next steps in that regard. I'm going to ask Director Meyer to just walk through this very quickly, and then I know that we do have citizens that want to comment on it as well.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Commissioners, Jason Meyer, Director of the Land and Minerals Department. Today, the department is bringing to the board the 2025 listing of the purchase and repurchased land sale contracts subject to cancellation for failure to pay installments and/or taxes required by Minnesota Statute 282.01 Subdivision 5. It wasn't too long ago that cancellations were brought to the board piecemeal throughout the year. We made a decision a few years ago to bring one list annually to the board. It's really helped keep everything on the same track and simplify things. It's important to note that contract holders have been sent several notices of the need to cure default and have been provided notice of this and the future March 11th board action, considering the board's considering to proceed with the cancellation process. The cancellation listing is a constantly changing listing. So what you see in your board file today, there might have been payments made. So it's important to note that before the March 11th board date, the department will send to administration and to the board an updated listing for before that March 11th board action. Please also note that if the board proceeds or chooses to proceed with the cancellation process, the contract holders will have 60 days to cure their default before cancellation or before the contract terminates. So,
Thank you, Jason. And I know we have at least one speaker. And I would like to call Anna Pojak up. Please, for the record, please introduce yourself and your address, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
I'm Linda Pojak, and I'm from Ely, Minnesota.
Jay Pojak, her son, 13697 Paradise Road.
So if you just want to go ahead and
Yeah.
state your case, et cetera, give us a little background,
Sure,
and we'll
sure.
take it from there.
I'm a personal representative for my family's property in Cook, Minnesota, and I've taken care of 2 houses in a commercial building, and I paid the contracts and the taxes on those buildings. And I also have 1 more, and I have paid 60% on the contract and up on the taxes till lately, but now it's in the process of coming into foreclosure because there's another 40% due on it, and then the taxes. So I guess we're out for some time or help or something with it.
So you're looking for more time? I know there is correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but there is a 60-day window here now, and I encourage you to work with staff on this, and hopefully something before March 11th, we can come together with some type of plan. Is that feasible, Mr. Meyer?
if the board chooses to proceed with the cancellation action, that date would be March 11th, the next board meeting. And then they would have 60 days to cure that default. The board has went several different ways over the years. The last 2 years, the board has to give folks a little more time. So in essence, what that would mean, and there's the termination process or cancellation process, and then
Thank you for that information. So in looking at that, you're actually, if I understand you correctly, you're looking at 150 days rather than 60 days, correct?
correct, my math is right.
Yeah, so you're looking at approximately 5 months. Does that help?
I guess she's looking for help on whatever, she's in part of the estate with, there's no money left. It's all coming from her. She'd like to keep it going to try to preserve the land there.
So do you just want to give us a little background on that whole estate and how that worked, just for the board's information?
So all my mom's brothers have passed, and she's the last one left with minimal left in the estate to take care of anything. She's took care of what she can, and this last building is what's left that she has to take care of on her own.
Anything further to add from your behalf?
The building's not in great shape, so it's not something she really wants, but if she can keep it going and keep it up, she would like to do that. Because she has done that with the other buildings in the estate.
Commissioner Nelson?
I guess we'd have to think about that. Anything is better than nothing. I mean, it's coming up for cancellation. Yeah.
Right. Go ahead, Jason.
If I could just remind the board too that the March 11th board date, this will be a agenda item, and possibly there'll be other contract holders speaking to this if they choose to come at that date too, so.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Chair, if we did it, it would be for everyone.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
And
Right.
but again, beyond that, I've been very, very
I just want to remind folks, we need to turn on our microphones when we're speaking. Thank you.
Commissioner Boyle?
Sorry, Commissioner McDonald. Just a question for Attorney Mackey. Is this something we need to move without consent moving forward to the next meeting?
Can you say your question again? I didn't hear you.
Do we want to move this without consent to the next meeting?
About recommendation?
Yeah.
Yes, that was something that I was going to suggest.
And I have no problem moving as the maker, and the second is moving this without recommendation. And do we have to have an amendment to talk about the 60 plus the 90 days? Or we wait till March 11th for that?
Mr. Chair, first of all, I want to thank both of you for being here today, and it's a difficult transition on the estate front, so sorry for your loss, and we hope we can work this out. The Chair McDonald, I would suggest that we bring this forward without recommendation. We'll have more facts, a little more chance to, our staff wants to work with all these parties that have unique challenges. I believe that in the past, we've done specific exceptions versus carte blanche. And so I want to respect that as well. But I think we can make that amendment. It sounds like the board is wanting to work and support unique circumstances, but also proceed with the process. So appreciate your presence here, and Director Meyer and his team will work with, as people come forward with issues. And I think we can make an adjustment on, depending upon the feedback we get over the next couple of weeks on March 11th, if that's okay.
And just so everybody's aware, I'm in favor of the extension for people that come before us and show us a legitimate need. And in this case, I believe there is a legitimate need, so moving forward, we can tackle that on March 11th by moving this without recommendation. Commissioner Nelson.
If we can, in the interest of expediting it at the March meeting, can we divide the question and have those individuals have two resolutions, one for anyone who comes forward asking for more time, and a second resolution for anyone not asking for, that we're not seeing come forward?
I think that's a definite possibility. Attorney Mackey?
Yes, our rules provide that any question can be divided by any member of the board, and so if that's something that the board wants to do on March 11th, that's permissible.
Thank you, Attorney Mackey.
Mr. Chair, I was asking that it be brought back that way, not that we would divide it at the next meeting, just that the department would bring it back as two separate resolutions, one dealing with those that had not contacted the department, and the second one dealing with those that had.
Attorney Mackey.
Mr. Chair, in that instance, I would suggest that the question be divided today so that it comes back in two separate questions at the regular board meeting on the 11th.
And do we need a motion for that?
Yes, a commissioner would have to move to divide the question.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, supported by Commissioner Grimm. All those in favor of the divided question, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, the question will come as divided, and now with the original motion that states that this is coming without recommendation back to the board as a divided question now on March 11th. Attorney Mackey, guide me through this.
We don't do this very often, so it's understandable that this is a little bit iffy, but we should have a vote on each divided question now, because the one is for people who haven't shown up, and then the other is for people who have.
Okay, so we have a divided question. So the first vote will be on the people who do not appear and request more time. That is a separate part of the question. And then,
Point of clarification, is it folks that are requesting more, or if they just don't show up and ask, they go through, is that what you're saying?
yes,
Okay, sorry, I was trying to understand, thank you.
all those in favor of that, please signify by saying, Phil?
Attorney Mackey, do we need a motion and a second on that first part of the divided question?
No, the question has already been moved. It's been divided, and so we can vote on each one separately. I just want to
Thank
make
you.
sure that there's nobody else out that would like to speak to the, I don't know if there is, but there's other people in the gallery, so I just wanted to make sure that if there are other people in the gallery, that they are given an opportunity to speak before the votes are taken.
Thank you for your consideration.
So is there anybody else in attendance that would care to speak on the issue? Hearing none, we'll call the question on the first one. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. I'm moving on to the second part of the question. The people that have requested extra time in a situation such as we just heard about. All those in favor of that and the extension of 90 days, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion carries. That's all I have, Madam Chair, filling in for Commissioner Jugovich today. And I will make sure I let him know that I carried the weight.
Thanks for pinch hitting today. Appreciate your support. We will move back to the Public Works and Transportation Committee. I really miss my days in highway heavy construction, so I'm going to lead this committee today. So first, we will take on the award of bids, Resolution 25-76, grading bituminous surfacing and ADA improvement projects. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Nelson. Administration.
Thank you, Chair Harla, and Commissioners. The action before the board is to approve the award of the contract to the apparent low bidder in the amount of $2.1 million. This is a project unique to the city of Biwabic as a non-CASA entity at the size of the city. The county serves as really the grant administrator or the award administrator. And this is a project, as I mentioned, in the city of Biwabic, so it's got, I recognized both routes that are being redone, including the one where my brother was cut off by his older brother named Kevin and took a tumble on a bicycle race and broke his jaw and didn't eat for 3 weeks. So, but that having been said, the funding is taking advantage of local road improvement program funds. So 2/3 of the project are funded through that program, and the other third is the responsibility of the city of Biwabic. So again, we step in to administer the project as the grant agent, fiscal agent.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we will move to Resolution 25-77, award of bids, Bridge 69L24, County Bridge 179, construction and approaches. Do I have a motion for this?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Nelson. Administration.
Thank you, Chair Harla and Commissioners. The action before the board is to approve the award of the contract in the amount of approximately $1.2 million to KGM Contractors for 2 culverts, technically bridges. The funding sources are primarily state aid funds, but I would note that uniquely for the Amity Creek Bridge, in talking with Director Faldesy this morning a little bit further, this will help restore access for fish migration, and the South Soil and Water Conservation District is investing $300,000 to support the project approximately. So, or 308,000, I should be more accurate, I guess. So a unique project, and that'll improve fish habitat in that stream. So these are both technically bridges, but box culverts, as our engineers would call them. So again, the apparent low bidder is KGM Contractors in the amount of approximately $1.2 million.
Thank you. Colleagues, any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, that completes that. We will hand it over to our Chair of Public Safety and Corrections Committee, Chair Grimm.
I have one item today, so it's award of bids for the South Impound Building. Is there a motion?
Support.
Moved without recommendation by Commissioner Nelson, supported by Commissioner Harla. I have some comments, but I'll pass it over to Administrator Gray first, and then Under Sheriff Akerson if you have additional comments after that.
Thank you, Chair Grimm and Commissioners. The action before the board is to award the bid to the apparent low bidder, Johnson Wilson Constructors, in the amount of approximately $1.1 million, just under that. This has been a project that actually has been bid previously, and the prices came in a little bit higher than we were comfortable with. And we got actually improved bid outcomes this time, so that's a positive. And this is to help preserve our forensic custody chain, and it's something that we made the investment in our north impound lot some time ago, several years ago, and this is to make that investment as well in the south. And when I say preserve, it's not only from the weather and the elements, but also from access by outside parties that would compromise the forensic chain. So this is a past-due investment, and I want to thank the Sheriff's Office for their patience and willingness to rebid this, and this is primarily funded through prior year-end savings and our capital fund account.
Are there any additional comments that you would like to give Under Sheriff Eckerson?
Yes, thank you, Board. This is a project, like we said, we've been looking at it for a few years. It's badly needed. I know, I think it was back in 2018, we did the north impound lot. Currently, the impound lot down south is next to the barn building adjacent to the public safety building. It's just a fenced-in area. It's open to the elements. We tow cars, boats, ATVs, you name it. They sit out in the elements. They're at risk for people that it's easy to get around a gate or through it. We have an obligation by state law to make sure that any property that's seized and pending forfeiture or held as evidence is held in a secure manner. So it's presenting a liability that county is the way we're doing business right now. And additionally, the best practices for evidence processing these vehicles, they really shouldn't sit out in the elements. So I appreciate the board support looking at this and looking at approving it. Available for any questions if there's any.
Are there any questions for Under Sheriff Eckerson? Thank you very much. And then any other comments or questions to the motion? I'll just say briefly, thank you for this work on it, and I really appreciate that we're looking about, especially the preservation of evidence. When you think about sometimes some of these cases take a year or two, and we're having cars out in the open elements and with easier access for people to get to. I think this is really critical for cases. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other comments, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, back to you, Chair Harla.
Great, thank you. Colleagues, that is the sum of our meeting today. Are there any further comments from commissioners? Commissioner Nelson? Yes, excuse me, commissioner reports. Are there any commissioner reports? Commissioner
I mean,
Nelson?
very briefly, Commissioner Harla, first of all, I want to thank this board. We are kind of like exactly on time. And there was some people that had a little bit of concern about our 1:30 opening, because I know there are going to be a number of people there. So it is, I made some comments earlier, and the truth is Mayor Cuffey was not in the room when I was making those comments, okay? And now he's in the room, and I want to make sure that I acknowledge the fact that, one, this building here, and Administrator Gray remembers the discussion, the truth is, would not be there were it not for the cooperation of the city of Virginia. And especially the cooperation of the mayor of the city of Virginia, okay? So, and the council members, of course, but this was something that we were really kind of looking where we were going to build it. And this was one of the options. This was our favorite option, but it required a closing of the street. And I will tell you that Mayor Cuffey still has some of the bruises from closing that street, but they stuck with us because they knew that to make this whole campus work, that was going to be part of it. And so later today, Mayor Cuffey will be one of the individuals that will be making the final cut on opening the Time Capsule, because it was the city of Virginia's building before it was Clute Peabody's, back in 47 or 48 when they took over the shirt factory, okay? And Madam Chair, just for your information and for the board's information, part of what I was trying to get into my own mind is the generational impacts that these types of things have. And so my nearly 89-year-old mother will be there today. She worked at the Arrow shirt factory. It was Arrow Company. Clute Peabody was the company, but they made Arrow shirts, pajamas. She gave me the whole history on Sunday. It was a 2-hour event, but they made shorty pajamas. They made long pajamas. I didn't know there was that many different things out there, but the generational impact of it. The other person opening the last cut will be my granddaughter. From, let's see, 12 to 89. And that's how long these things impact communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, anything further?
And almost 89. Don't get me in trouble by saying 89. Okay, please. Almost 89.
She's solidly in her 80s.
Almost 89. Okay.
In her mid-80s, we can still say that, mid to late. All right, seeing no further lights, I want to take a moment to thank the City of Virginia, our mayor, our city councilor, and Jenny Bourbonnais for being such a great host. Or Director Bourbonnais, I'm guessing, that's your title. So just thank you very much for hosting us today. We had a lot going on, and it was a great room to be in, so thank you. And thank you so much for providing each of the commissioners with mugs. I grew up cheering on my cousins in the band at the not Christmas City, excuse me, at the Land of the Loon Festival. So one of my favorite of the year. So colleagues, do I have a motion to approve, a motion to adjourn? Moved by Commissioner McDonald, supported by Commissioner Grimm. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you. See you at 1:30.
Commissioners and administration, there is, we have put together and have lunches available. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming. This is, look, when you see me put a suit on, it's a big deal. I'm going to turn to the mayor of Virginia, Mayor Cuffey. Without the mayor and his city council's help, this building would have also never been possible here. Mayor Cuffey.
Welcome, everybody, and it's an honor and privilege for me to be here, asked by Keith Nelson and the County Board to come here and help open up this time capsule. This time capsule was located, it was a cornerstone of the old Northland building, which used to be the shirt factory, which Tony refers to as the recreation center that we had many, many years ago. So if you all remember, this was an ice arena up above. They did it for curling, for all kinds of other things, and it was an open air when they opened the windows, and all the ice was naturally frozen. And so it's gone through many changes over the years and now serves as part of this brand new huge facility. So this time capsule is very important. Nobody knows what's in it. We're going to find this out, and so we're all going to look at it together. And first of all, before we get started, I was asked by Commissioner Nelson to introduce the 6th grade class. I'm going to call up the principal of the Northstar Elementary School, Mr. Scott Manning. Scott, would you please come up and give a little...
Bill, thank you for the invitation. It's critical that our young people can learn their history. So, and with the opening of our brand new building, what better way to have the future of this town meet the past. So thank you very much, and we are honored guests.
And we opened a time capsule up last year in the city of Virginia that was on a kind of a cornerstone capsule in front of City Hall. When we opened it up, there was a lot of surprising things in there, and I'm sure that's going to be here today. But one of the things was a letter from the mayor of Virginia, J. Edward Pearsall, many years ago, 50 years ago, I think. Okay? So when we opened up the time capsule and read that letter from Mayor Pearsall, the problems that Virginia had and the challenges they had back then are the same challenges we have today. I'm hoping this is a lot more positive. So thank you, Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor Cuppy.
What year was the
Look,
plan?
There's a lot of people that were involved in this building and making it happen. None less than the county board that I serve with. And I have many of my commissioners here. Chair Ann Harla. Paul McDonald is here someplace. Who else is? Patrick is here. Yeah, he's hiding in back. There we go. But these are people that have futuristic thinking, because otherwise you don't do things like this. And for those of you that are sticking around for the tour, you are in for a treat. This is quite the facility. Look, I invited someone back today that I wanted to say a few words here, and he's going to stick around for a while. He's not on the payroll, so we got to be a little careful. But Tony was in charge of our building maintenance and our building construction. This is kind of his baby. I mean, over the years, my several years on the county board, I learned early on that if you had a question on a building or part of a building or what we were going to do on a building, you just had to go to Tony. So Tony, a few things. We will have a reel running here later that was made that shows kind of a chronology of it's 6 minutes long, folks, for anybody that wants to watch it, but it shows kind of a chronology of the building and some pictures from the past and some pictures of parts of this building that you're not going to be able to see on a tour, like all of the solar panels that are on the roof. But Tony, I'm going to turn to you because you were the magician on this building.
Thank you. History. We'll start with history first, I guess, because this building is actually the result of probably, I think, about 12 years of work, I think, it took. You start back at the courthouse, Virginia Courthouse. And we bought a couple old houses. We needed more parking. We added an addition to the courthouse. We were talking about an overall campus plan for downtown Virginia. That's how this all really started many years ago. And then we bought the Luma Chiropractic Clinic, and that got attached to the new addition over there. And then we bought another piece of parcel where the motor pool building was, and that's strategically located between this building and the courthouse, so it can serve all of the county staff. And then the last piece of the puzzle was to come over here and work with the city of Virginia. This was a parking lot here where we're standing right now, and we had the Northland building. And that was quite interesting process. It was on a historic register, so there was a lot of discussions. And at the end of the day, there was things made that were to preserve the Northland building, and you see the wall over there, and there's a plaque that honors the memory of the Northland building / shirt factory / recreation center. So the building could not really be used for what we do today. So we ended up with a new building, and this building has, we kind of pulled out a few of the stops, nothing bleeding edge, but a little bit cutting edge. And we even have the architects here. Hi, Catherine. And those folks did a great job working with the county to design this building. And this building, we wanted to do it right because buildings are around for a long time. And for history, interested in history for your kids, everything takes a long time in the government. So really, when we start, like I said, you start talking about this 12 years before this was done. So it just takes a long time still. But it has to go through a process and you have transparency and, well, you know, it has to be. So this building, we decided, you know, we knew that energy costs never really go down. They may stabilize for a few years, but they always go up. The trajectory's up. Same with maintenance costs, the same with parts and everything. So the goal to this was to try to flatten out the energy consumption of this building and flatten out the maintenance costs of this building and get the longest life cycle we could out of this building. So we worked with Danberg, and this building has a super insulated shell. It's got high performance windows because that's where, you know, why would you have alternative energy if you just have a lousy shell? It just flies out anyway. So this building envelope is really good. It's got high performance windows. We tried a few experiments. There's a thing called a solar wall on the back wall, the south facing wall of this facility. So in the wintertime, it's just a metal panel wall with millions of little holes. So when the air comes into this building, that it's preheated, and it actually heats up to, and this is the middle of winter at about zero, it actually heat up to about 48 to 50 degrees is what our experience was in the past with solar walls. So in the winter, you're preheating that, because in an office building, you have to exchange the air constantly because there's so many people in here. Otherwise, the air quality goes down and people don't feel well and whatever, and for health reasons. So that was one, and then we ended up putting what's called a white roof on this building. And the white roof, we discovered through other projects we did that a white roof in the summertime will reflect the heat. So we had black roofs on our other buildings, and we actually put sensors on there, and they're getting up to about 140 to 150 degrees on the roof. And now you're trying to air condition the space below it. So with the white roofs, if it was 85 outside, or 80 outside, the roof was 85, so it only hovered about 5% above the ambient. So it's got a white roof on here to help with the air conditioning load. And then underneath this building is ground source heat pump system, because we just didn't have a lot of room here for a lot of options. And at that time, I believe the city was, they were talking about the district heating and stuff was going to possibly change. So we ended up with a small gas boiler and ground source heat pump, and I just talked to Troy Martins in the facilities guru here, and he said it's running like a champ. And this building is what, about 1.5 times the size of the Northland building, but it uses 2/3 less energy. So that was a win. To top it off, there's solar panels on the roof of this building, and I think there's 220,000 watts of solar panels on this building, and it takes care of about maybe half of the electricity bill of this, the consumption of this building. So that's better than nothing. You know, it sure helps. And though one of the other things too is this building, we tried to source out and use like local materials. Maybe you could help me with that a little bit. I can't remember exactly some of the iron. We're trying to be respectful of the iron ore history here.
The black ash wall.
And the black ash wall. So there was also some other components to the facility where we were trying to source local materials for it. So that this building, and I never even, I graduated before we opened the parking lot. I retired, I mean, but before we did the parking lot. So I was here for when it was operating, but I didn't get to see now we have the grand opening, so it all turned out okay.
Here we are.
So other than that, this building is it's a long life cycle building. It'll be around for a long time, and it's a high performer, built out of stout materials, and I think we have a winner, and we worked really well with the city of Virginia. This was a lot of discussions, right?
So will this building still be here 80 years from now?
Yeah.
There you go. And I want to be respectful of our young adults who are here because I know they got to get back to school. But Tony says you got the afternoon off. So with that, I wanted Tony to come, one, because he is truly the one who, what you see here is all bouncing around up here for a long, long time. And he talks plain. You know, there's nothing fancy here, but if you want it to work, you get somebody who knows how it works, and that's what Tony is, okay? I wanted this building to say something about our county board's commitment to generational. Okay, so today, and if you wonder, I brought one of our 6th grade class members forward. This just happens to be my granddaughter. Okay. No training, but we got safety glasses, so we're good. Tony, you didn't power up the whole building, only half?
What's going to happen?
There we go. I also would point out that there's 4 generations of, well, then it'd be the Nelson family. My almost 89-year-old mother, I have to be very careful, sitting on the end over here, who worked for Clute and Peabody at the Aero factory, not in Virginia, but she worked in Evelyn and in Gilbert, because they were in all these communities. Okay, my bride is here as well, but she's not. No. By the way, funny story. She got this picture. It was her birthday yesterday, folks. Okay, she's 39. She's doing well, but she got a picture of a bunch of otters. Okay, for a birthday present, and during this process of explaining the otters to me, she told me that they're untrainable. Okay, well, her maiden name in Finnish means otter, so I won't say any more than that. Okay, my daughter is here, who's also a principal of the Parkview School, and you're kind of stuck with me because you did elect me about 7 times. So. And then my granddaughter, of course. So with no further ado, we are going to open this up. I need you two to put the safety goggles on, safety glasses on. You do too? Yes, have to have them on. You're using a saw. Okay. Larry, you're cutting first.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Where's the battery?
I want to assure everyone this, and Diane is here, by the way. Diane did so bloody much work for this whole deal. My assistant, she's here somewhere. We can assure everyone that no one has looked inside this box. No one has gotten to this box because it has been stored in my office since it was taken out of the demolition of the building. So,
It says property of Keith Nelson.
No. Larry, you start right here and cut back to that little spot.
Okay.
That will take us.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
You can do it.
I could try.
Huh? Law enforcement degree. He doesn't have an industrial arts degree.
Gosh.
There's half.
There's one.
Okay. Now.
Never had to break out of jail before.
Bryn?
Explosive devices.
How much, the kids in her class here, how many of you think she's going to be faster than Larry was? Right there. You got to cut that out. Just like Larry did. Yep, absolutely. No, a little bit further. She's not blonde, but. But I love her nonetheless. Right there, yeah. She wanted to open this the other night when she found out that I was, there it is. When she found out that I was there. She wanted to follow me home and open it up the other night. So now, I'll have you put some gloves on. Who else is helping me take it out? Just me? Gloves, gotta have gloves on. Gotta have gloves on. Larry, you too. No, you too. Gotta have gloves on though. And again, we will lay this all out. Everybody's going to get a chance to see this. Okay? Now, I want to point out that we did do the time capsule for the Oddfellows Hall, or the, help me out, Larry, but it was called other things. But the time capsule for that is in the outer lobby, and all of the parts and pieces are on display out there. And again, that box was brought directly to my office by our building maintenance folks when that building was being torn down. And I can't get these gloves on. I feel like OJ.
This is like processing evidence.
It is. I feel like OJ here. That wasn't a very good one. If it fits. Okay, so now we will take out the contents and lay them on the front table. I brought Tony here too because, and Tony will appreciate this joke, because we save money on gloves with Tony. we only need one, okay? And I can tell you this with confidence because Tony was the king of self-deprecating humor when it came to that, okay? Okay, so here we go. One box, open, full of money. Okay, let's pick some stuff out and see what it is. Brent? Maybe that book, sure. What does it say? What does it say on it? Can't read that one?
City of Virginia.
City of Virginia on it. I know some people that this American Exchange National Bank. For some reason this got stuck in there. And at one time it's an official program from the American Legion State Convention back when.
Well, I have here an amended charter of the city of Virginia, circa 1914.
1914.
Maybe we should go back to this one.
Right?
Councilor Freely, Councilor Biotic, Councilor Bachschneider, we should go back to this. We'll read this.
I didn't see your other counselors sneak in here. Thank you for recognizing them, Mayor Coffey. You know, in one of the papers that I was looking at the other day, at one time the city of Virginia had like 4 daily newspapers, okay? Today, unfortunately, we have one, and it's not a daily newspaper, but merchant victim of $140 forgery. Can you imagine back then what that was?
$140 forgery?
$140 forgery.
Huge.
Yeah.
Right?
School election commands citywide interest. Some of the headlines of the day. I'll lay this out. Pick something else up. We got all kinds of entries. Larry, what do you got?
Well, I've got a Virginia, Minnesota, the Queen City Handbook in the heart of the Great Iron Range. And of course, on the back is the old advertisement that helped, probably pay for this, is your service station, the Texaco Motor Oil, Northern Gasoline, for better service, Northern Oil in Virginia.
There you go.
Wow. And it's got all the...
This is literally plumb full. How about the 9th annual report of your Water and Light Commission dated 1922? Bryn, what have you got?
Virginia Junior College.
A bulletin from the junior college. They put everything in books back then. You don't get to pick. You don't get to cherry pick. You have to take the next item,
Well,
okay?
this paperclip is circa 1914 as well. This is the Declaration of Independence. I don't think that's changed.
How's this? The Constitution of the State of Minnesota from 1923.
Wow.
What's the date on the newspaper? It was
1923.
1923.
July 15th.
This one says 1776 if you want.
I don't think I need to say what this is, folks, but they included it because it was obviously very, very important. But a copy of the Bible. Oh my.
Okay, this is a letter outlining what's the rest of inside this box is. This is a list of books, papers, and articles to be placed in boxes in the cornerstone of the City Hall and Recreation Building, July 19th, 1925.
Wow. Yeah. Now, Bryn has a coin that was in here. Looks like a dollar coin. No, that's isn't that a dollar?
Look at the year. We could pay for the rest of this building.
So we have grabbing one of those cases. We have a case for that coin to put it in. What year is the coin? I thought the young eyes should be able to see it for sure. Put it in that box and put it on the table. Do you know the year? 1923. And that is a silver dollar, isn't it? Tony, you were around back then.
Here is a list of all the Virginia churches and their pastors' names, July 1923, as all the churches and the list of their pastors as well.
This is a roster of membership. I'm not going to open this envelope, but we will. And it's a roster of the membership of the J. Bird Pratt Post American Legion. And again, from July 19th, 1923. Go ahead. These are all in envelopes, so we're going to have to, they will have to be opened up at some point. The history of the J. Burt Pratt Post is a copy of the preamble to the Legion Constitution. It's amazing some of the things that were so important back in those days.
And this is the copy of the very first issue of the Queen City Legionnaire containing the history of the J. Burt Pratt Member Post dated February 2nd, 1923.
Go ahead. Go ahead and read it.
J. Burt Pratt Post, American Legion, Virginia, Minnesota, February 9th, 1922. I believe it's a letter.
Mayor Cuffey, if I could get my fingers to work, I could open that, but I'm going to hand it to you.
Well, you know, I have some of these in my office.
And they are?
This is likely a medal that was issued to everybody who served back in World War II.
Oh, really?
World War I. So let me open this very carefully. Yes, I have a bunch of these in my office that I found in the archives of the basement, buried in a bunch of boxes full of dust.
Look at that.
That's exactly what this is. Anybody who served in this area in World War I received one of these.
Prizes in here.
And on the back, it says, from the city of Virginia in honor of your service in World War II. Everyone received one of these.
And here it is, out of the Virginia Daily Register, or Enterprise, I'm sorry. Leaders talk about the 1924 election. Wow. Set this down for you. Again, you'll all get a chance to look at this, I promise you. The envelopes we probably won't open up right now, but we will open them. There are a bunch of envelopes in there. That medal is special. That's
very much so. And for those of you who have family that are in World War I, you might want to check to see if they have one of these. If they don't, I think I have a few left in my office. I'd be happy to give you one. This is a resolution of condolence. Be it resolved that we, members of the City Council of the City of Virginia,
it's in cursive, folks.
Yeah. Infinitely body of the citizens thereof, on behalf of the citizens of Virginia, hereby enter into the family of who made the supreme sacrifice in this World War I.
Given to families Gold Star family.
who died in World War I. This is what the state of Virginia did, a resolution of condolences.
This is the list from the recruiting list for the U.S. Army. So it's a full list of a recruitment. A letter to the veterans of World War I. Again, this building was built in honor of the World War I veterans, Larry, or as a result of... Okay, there's just a couple more, I promise you.
Yeah, same thing here.
But they're all worth it.
All the
Okay?
mimeograph, all the names of those who served in mimeograph form. Amazing, huh?
Mimeograph.
Yeah, I learned that in school.
We didn't learn that in Elton.
We had mimeographing.
Did you?
Yeah, we stayed in the art.
You were state of the art. We were still writing longhand with pencils. Here's a letter from the Virginia Lodge, and just a letter of members of the Virginia Lodge. Again, I'm sure a lot of the lodges were asked to contribute to the time capsule.
This is the time sheet for the construction crew, Fred Gorham.
Time sheet. It's Keith Nelson's birth certificate. This is a list of the Virginia boys it says here, who gave their lives for the country in the World War against Germany, 1914 to 1918.
Turn it around and show them that list. This is just Virginia.
And if you don't mind, I'll just read a couple of the names. You'll recognize them. I think everybody, George Siegel, Hans Mickelson, Charles Brooks, Walter Kralin, he's part of the J. Pratt, Lambert Kralin, VFW, Isaac Hill, Carl Hansen, Arnold Johnson, William Lockheed, and the list goes on. Clarence McDonald, Ola E. Strand, Charles C. Butler, Peter Stoka.
Again, just Virginia.
Just Virginia. So take a look at these.
Here's one for you and for your city council. This is the city clerk's condensed report of city finances. It fit on one page.
That's what we need right there. That's what we need right there. That's what we need. We'll have to work on that. Finance director.
And the finances are, like the biggest number on here is $255,000.
Wow.
Okay. But again, back in 1924.
A lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah. And the last item, by the way, there's nothing else in here. I thought there was something else, but there's a stain on the bottom of the box that looks like a little kid's spoon, but that's not what it was.
This is a 1923 school board.
Oh, this come from the school board, okay? And it shows the school board members.
Some of them are still in.
And a list of when all of the schools were built. The old central school, some of these I don't even remember. 1894 was the first one. Okay. 1910 was how's this? The Roosevelt School was 1904. The one that just came down to. No. All right, so we're going to lay these out. I want to thank Mayor Cuffey for helping me, and I want to thank Bryn for helping me. It wasn't that bad. For all of you that are here, please take your time, take a look at what's up here. Please, if you would, if you want to look at something a little bit more in depth, grab one of the rubber gloves. Let's not touch any of it until we get a chance. But we are going to have this displayed, and a permanent display out in the lobby. So you'll be able to stop in and look at some of this stuff at your leisure as well. So here it is. That's the entire contents of the time capsule. That one medal made my whole day, week, month.
Commissioner, can we thank Commissioner Nelson for all of his work too, pulling this together?
Again, my county board, we are a team. Okay, So this is all part of the team. Tony, thank you again for coming. And again, folks, for those of you who wish to take advantage of the tours, there are people that are out. Dana is here someplace. There she is. She is the traffic cop. She will help you to wherever you want to go to see. There are tour groups that are going to be going through. For the kids, okay, I promise you there's juice and cookies here. There's cookies for everybody, but there's juice and cookies for the kids before you head back to school. Mr. Manny, thank you so much for bringing your
Christine. There's an awful lot of emotion. Good, I know.
Oh, I see how that Shame. Property owners refused payment.
You can walk it around the section line. Give that
Plausible. Oh, wow. They're not